You are standing in a red and white shirt, and the stadium is louder than your own heartbeat. The ball is rolling toward the penalty spot. Your legs feel heavy. Your country has fewer people than some world cities, but every time the World Cup reaches its cruelest minutes, somehow you are still there. This is Croatia, not Brazil, with 5 stars, not Germany, with a machine built across generations, not France, with endless waves of talent from Paris, Lyon, Marseille, and the suburbs that feed the whole European game. Croatia is small enough that an outsider can look at a map and wonder how this keeps happening. So why does it keep happening? To understand Croatia, you have to begin with a strange football truth. Some countries build giants through population. Some build them through money. Croatia built one through memory. Before the red and white checks became a World Cup warning sign, Croatian football lived inside a larger story. For decades, Croatian players competed under the Yugoslav flag, sharing dressing rooms, academies, rivalries, and tournaments with players from across a country that no longer exists. The shirts were different. The anthem was different. But the technical education was real. You learned to play in tight spaces. You learned to protect the ball as if losing it was a personal insult. You learned that a midfielder was not just a runner, but a thinker. That matters. David Goldblatt, in The Ball is Round, treats football as something more than a game moving from one country to another. It carries politics, migration, class, pride, and pain. Croatia's football story is exactly that kind of story. It is not only about formations and goals. It is about a country trying to make itself visible. Then independence arrives. The early 1990s are not a clean beginning. They are difficult. They are emotional. They are shaped by war, recognition, grief, and a new flag that suddenly has to mean something on the world stage. The Croatian Football Federation had been founded back in 1912, but modern Croatian football became fully independent after Croatia gained independence, with admission to FIFA in 1992 and UEFA in 1993. That sounds like administration, paperwork, stamps, committees. But for the players, it meant something else. It meant you could finally walk onto a pitch as Croatia. And then, almost impossibly, the world saw you. France, 1998. Your first World Cup as an independent nation. You are not supposed to be a giant. You are not even supposed to be ready. The tournament has teams with deeper histories, bigger leagues, and more familiar names. Brazil have Ronaldo. France have Zidane. Germany are Germany. And then Croatia arrived like a team that skipped the waiting line. Miroslav Blažević, the manager in the white scarf, turns a group of experienced, technically gifted players into something sharper than a romantic underdog. Zvonimir Boban brings authority. Robert Prosinečki brings invention. Slaven Bilic brings defiance. Davor Šuker brings the one thing every fairy tale needs but cannot survive without: finishing. A finisher is not just someone who scores. A finisher is someone who makes the stadium feel that one mistake has already become a goal. Šuker had that feeling. Against Germany in the quarterfinal, Croatia win 3-0. Not 1-0 through luck. Not on penalties. 3-0. A new country beats a football superpower so clearly that the result still looks unreal when you read it decades later. Then comes France, the semi-final, the host nation. Croatia take the lead through Šuker. For a few seconds, the dream opens. You can see the final. You can almost touch it. Then Lilian Thuram scores twice. The dream closes. France go on. Croatia do not. But the story does not end in heartbreak. Croatia beat the Netherlands in the third-place match, and Šuker finishes as the tournament's top scorer with 6 goals. Bronze in a debut World Cup. A golden boot in a debut World Cup. How does a small country do that the first time it appears? The simple answer is talent. The better answer is accumulated talent. Croatia did not appear from nowhere. Its players had come through a football culture already rich with clubs, street games, local pride, and the technical habits of the old Yugoslav school. The new national team gave those habits a sharper emotional edge. That is the first secret. Croatia played like a young nation with old football in its bones. But then comes the problem every small giant faces. You can shock the world once. Can you keep doing it? For years, Croatia's answer is complicated. There are good players. There are beautiful midfielders. There are tournament moments. But there are also exits, disappointments, and teams that look talented without looking inevitable. Euro 2008 ends painfully against Turkey. The 2010 World Cup is missed completely. At the 2014 World Cup, Croatia leave early. Maybe 1998 was just a golden accident. Maybe small countries get one miracle, and then football corrects itself. Then comes Russia, 2018. You are in the tunnel again. This time, the names are different. Luka Modrić, Ivan Rakitic, Mario Mandzukic. Ivan Perisic, Dejan Lovren, Danijel Subasic, a generation that has played Champions League nights, Clásicos, finals, and pressure games across Europe. But the shirt still carries the same question. Can Croatia really go all the way? They start by beating Nigeria, then Argentina, not a narrow win, a 3-0 statement. Modrić scores from distance, and the ball bends away from the goalkeeper like it has chosen history over physics. Argentina are not just beaten, they are unpicked. To understand that team, you have to understand the midfield. A midfield is the part of the team between defense and attack, but for Croatia, it became the mind of the entire side. Modrić controlled rhythm. Rakitic connected passes. Marcelo Brozovic covered space behind them. A defensive midfielder, in plain English, is the player who protects the back line and gives the creative players freedom to breathe. Croatia's midfield did not overpower you with size. It exhausted you with decisions. Pass here. Turn there. Draw pressure. Escape it. Make the opponent chase 1 second too late. Jonathan Wilson has written for years about tactical evolution, about how football systems change because space changes. Croatia's 2018 team was a lesson in controlling space without looking like a machine. They were not Spain's endless passing carousel. They were not Germany's pressing storm. They were something more stubborn, more human, and more dangerous in long games. Then the knockouts begin. Denmark. Penalty shootout. Russia. Penalty shootout. England. Extra time. This is where Croatia should break. Most teams have one emotional mountain in a tournament. Croatia climbed 3. Every match feels like it is asking them the same question in a harsher voice. Are you still here? Against England, you fall behind early. Kieran Trippier's free kick flies in, and suddenly the old football world has its script. England ahead. Croatia tired. The final waiting. But Croatia do not leave. Perisic scores. Mandzukic scores in extra time. Croatia reached the World Cup final. Read that slowly. Croatia reached the World Cup final. A country of about 4 million people stands one match from the trophy that entire football empires spend generations chasing. In the final, France win 4-2. The score looks simple. The match feels messier than that. An own goal. A penalty. Croatian pressure. French speed. Modrić still passing through traffic with that strange lightness that makes the hardest thing look like a small correction of the foot. France lift the trophy. Croatia receives silver. And Modrić wins the golden ball as the tournament's best player. That award matters because it tells you something. The champion was France, but the central character of the tournament was Croatian. The little midfielder from Zadar, the boy who had grown up during war, the player once considered too slight for the highest level, became the face of a World Cup. This is the second secret. Croatia's greatness is not built on domination. It is built on refusal. Refusal to accept the normal size of the country. Refusal to accept the normal ending of a match. Refusal to accept that fatigue is a reason to disappear. Alexander Haliga, one of Croatia's sharpest football writers, has often explained Croatian football through its tensions: pride and dysfunction, talent and politics, romance and frustration. That tension is important. Croatia are not a perfect football system. They are not a polished factory where every part moves smoothly. That may be exactly why the national team feels so alive. It is not clean. It is not safe. It plays with scars. Then Qatar, 2022, proves 2018 was not the final chapter. Now you are older. Modrić is older. The world knows the trick. Nobody can call Croatia a surprise anymore, but many people still expect the legs to go, the magic to fade, the knockout luck to run out. Instead, Croatia survive again. They reach Brazil in the quarter-final. Brazil dance. Brazil attack. Brazil have Neymar. Brazil have the aura of the shirt that taught the world how beautiful football could be. In extra time, Neymar scores. For Brazil, it should be the ending. For Croatia, it is just another question. Are you still here? Then Bruno Petkovic equalizes. Penalties come. Dominik Livakovic becomes enormous in goal. Not because he fills the net like a giant, but because the moment seems to shrink around him. A goalkeeper in a penalty shootout is alone in the most public way possible. He guesses, he studies, he leaps, and if he is wrong, the world calls it destiny. If he is right, the world calls it nerves. Croatia are right enough. Brazil go home. Croatia go on. They lose to Argentina in the semi-final, then beat Morocco 2-1 for third place. Another bronze. Another podium. Another tournament where a country that should statistically be outside the inner circle somehow stands inside it. Now the pattern is impossible to ignore. 1998, third. 2018, second. 2022, third. That is not a lucky run. That is an identity. So what is the identity? First, midfield intelligence. Croatia repeatedly produces players comfortable under pressure. They do not treat the ball like a hot object. They invite pressure, then use the opponent's movement against them. In simple terms, they make you run where they want you to run. Second, emotional endurance. Croatia do not only play matches, they stay inside them. Extra time does not scare them. Penalties do not turn them into strangers. A bad first half does not automatically become a funeral. Third, diaspora and football education. Many Croatian players grow inside strong European systems while carrying the emotional charge of the national shirt. That mix is powerful. The club game gives them polish. The national team gives them meaning. Fourth, a strange comfort with being underestimated. Some teams need the world to believe in them. Croatia often look more dangerous when the world doubts them. The doubt becomes fuel, and the smallness becomes a weapon. Brian Glanville's long history of the World Cup reminds you how often the tournament creates myths from single matches. But Croatia's myth is different because it keeps repeating. It is not one night. It is one generation handing the question to the next. That is why Croatia feel bigger than their population. Not because population does not matter. It does. Not because infrastructure does not matter. It does. But football is not only arithmetic. It is also culture, pressure, timing, memory, and the rare ability to turn national feeling into calm decision-making when everyone else is panicking. Modern fans recognize this every time a so-called smaller team reaches a knockout match and refuses to behave like a guest. Morocco in 2022, Iceland in 2016, Greece in 2004, Uruguay for a century. These teams remind football that size can explain the odds, but it cannot play the match for you. Croatia are the modern proof. They are not the richest. They are not the largest. They are not always the most beautiful. But when the World Cup becomes tight, when legs burn, when the scoreboard becomes cruel, and when the big countries start looking at the clock, Croatia becomes something else. A warning. A red and white checked warning. You may beat them. France did. Argentina did. Portugal may one day. Spain may one day. Germany may one day. Any giant may one day. But you will rarely find Croatia leaving quietly. Because the real story of Croatia is not that a small country became big. It is that a small country learned how to make the biggest stage feel like home. And now you are back in that red and white shirt, listening to the stadium shake around you. Only this time, the heartbeat is not fear. It is proof that the smallest giant is still standing.